Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Strege, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I'm your host, David Strege, and here I have another review for you. This time, it's of Mike Flanagan's Gerald's Game. But before I go on about Gerald's Game, well, Andrew Massetti's It made box office history. It's not that I hate horror. I love anything to do with horror and horror films, but I'm also not bending over and telling them I'll take it in the butt like the rest of the world seems to be doing for his remake either. That being said, there were pieces of that adaptation that I will like, and pieces of the film that I'm just not going to agree with people on, as I truly feel the general public has seriously forgotten what true horror is. And I'm sorry, Pennywise the Dancing Clown was more than just saying, "We all float down here," which in my mind were Bill Skarsgård's only lines throughout the entire film. And I'm sorry, I cannot agree. It was better than Tim Curry's It. I'm not here to badmouth this film, nor The Dark Tower, as they both had some redeeming qualities. But after the bad taste in my mouth, stomaching It and The Dark Tower, even worse performances watching director Mike Flanagan's Gerald's Game revived my faith that one can stay true to a King novel if one tries. For it is an excellent adaptation of the novel and the absolute closest you can get to keeping it true. After bringing films like Absentia, Oculus, Hush, Before I Wake, Ouija Origins of Evil, I think we can say that Mr. Flanagan knows his horror, as he works with Intrepid Pictures and Netflix on this particular film. The original story of Gerald's Game was supposed to be a companion novel to Dolores Claiborne, but it became a story of its own, in its own merit. Jesse, played by Gugino, and Gerald Burlingham, played by Greenwood, are headed to a vacation home to spice up their sex life. They almost run over a hungry German Shepherd dog that once they got to their home, Jesse leaves some meat out for the hungry dog as they go inside for the night. Jesse slips into some sexy lingerie, which she is very sexy looking here, and waits as Gerald brings out a set of what looks like prison-issued cuffs on chains and cuffs her to the four-poster wooden bedpost, setting a glass of water on a shelf above her. Bruce begins to call himself Daddy and begins to get rough with her, causing her pain, so she, Jessie, feels uncomfortable and weirded out. So she tells him to stop, and he doesn't right away. She sternly has to kick him in his groin, but shortly after, has a heart attack, falling off the bed and leaving Jessie chained to the bed and suddenly alone with her mind. Not only do you see her begin to have delusions of talking to her husband, Gerald, she sees what looks like herself as well. That hungry dog also somehow finds its way into the room and begins to eat Gerald. And an even darker hooded figure that has a disfigured face beckons to her in the night as Jessie has to deal with the secret she's kept all these years, one that happened one day when the sun had an eclipse and she sat on her father's lap. I feel this film deals with fear on a multiple of levels. On the one hand, Jessie is trapped having to deal with issues of a failing marriage, childhood sexual abuse that she buried deeply, and the fear of things that go bump in the night. Plus the possibility of becoming the dog's next meal if she doesn't survive and get herself out of the cuffs before too long. I think both Guigano, as well as remembering her performance in Sucker Punch and Watchmen, and Greenwood from seeing him play the president in National Treasure's Book of Secrets, put in a performance of historians and creepy that was far more real and far more intense. And I'm sorry that I have to spoil a little bit, but the scene where she had to pretty much rip her wrist entirely off made me cringe. It looked so real. I was far more impressed with this film that I think Netflix now needs to put this on something physical. That I need to own this film. Strange thing is that this version was so good, and yet Stephen King's name wasn't on it as an executive producer, which I believe it should have been. I extremely recommend this film. This is absolutely, I think, the best film I've seen so far this year. I'm close to saying that it's my number one spot right now at this moment, and I hope others do too. Besides, having it be on Netflix, it was filmed in 2017. I believe that this was the best film of 2017. To date, actually. I'm not really into Oscar films or whatnot. I don't really pay attention to that type of thing. But what I think deserves entirely a nod was this film. So, in any case, thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. I appreciate your time spent on this page. Thank you so much. Enjoy. And I will definitely have some more cool stuff in the future. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You were good, kid. Real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?